Wake News Radio. I'm your host, Charlie McGrath. It is hour number 2. Thank you, Gary Hendershot, not only for hosting the hour on Monday, Alternative Energy Hour, but also helping me with some technical issues that we're having here. We're trying to get set up, and Gary's taken a lead role in getting me the right equipment, so I'll be able to take callers via Skype, broadcast the program with the guest audio on Justin TV, the whole 9 yards. So thank you very much, Gary, for your help on that. I appreciate it. Coming up here in just a minute, Greg Mannarino is joining us again, and I'm excited to get him back on the program. We have a lot to talk about, especially heading into the election, heading into the warning season from Christine Lagarde telling us every other day we're going to go off a cliff. So we're going to get into that in a minute with him. If you're listening and not in the chat room, I'm actually speaking and not in the chat room. I'm heading over there right now. You can go to wideawakenews.com, click on, that's what I'm going to do. Guys, I'm doing this with you. Go to wideawakenews.com, click on the radio banner, the big microphone, and you will be in chat as I am right now. Hello, everybody. And we'll pull questions and comments out of there. If you want to call in with questions for Greg, who is a well-rounded Renaissance man, you can call in at 877-342-6673. Guys, I'm uploading a video right now, very simple name to it, Riots in America, period. That's it. Why? Because they're coming. Like it or not, believe it or not, accept it or not, they are coming. Now, Michael Snyder put out an excellent piece over the weekend talking about this, and I used this piece in my video for some of the information he had in it. And here's the fact. 86% of the people in this country believe the government isn't working on their behalf and frustrated with that government. We've seen the rise of the Tea Party pre-bailout phenomenon where we were protesting the out-of-control spending by the government. And then we saw Occupy movement protesting government completely out of control and co-opted by special interests, namely financial special interests. So we've seen the civil unrest. We've seen the frustration in the country building over the last several years, building slower and slower, but ever more hostile, ever more angry. And now we have a situation where we're going into this election season, and the powers that be have done a completely masterful job, far beyond anything that I could have ever anticipated. You know, a lot of folks were saying that this was going to be all about divide and conquer, but it is far, far beyond that. We have people throwing excrement on each other's buildings. We have signs being cut with box cutters. We have tweets going out talking about, you know, there's going to be massive riots if Romney is elected. We have other tweets going out saying it's going to be a stolen election if Obama is back in there. Look, riots are coming to this country because I believe this has been the game plan from the get-go. Loot, pillage, steal everything in sight, and when it's all time to collapse, we'll turn the animals on one another. Do you think for 1 second it's an accident that the Social Security Administration, I'm going to say it again, Social Security Administration, they don't operate outside this nation, they don't fight foreign wars. Is it an accident that they have 174,000 rounds of hollow point ammunition bought that's being shipped out to 41 locations? Or even NOAA, National Oceanographic Administration, has 46,000 rounds of hollow point ammunition. If these numbers are shocking, then you should be terrified at the fact that in March 2012, the Department of Homeland Security purchased 750 million rounds of ammunition. That's 2 rounds of ammunition for every person in this country. You can kill everybody twice inside the United States. The Department of Homeland Security, they're not over there fighting in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria, all these other places we're causing problems. Their job is to work inside the borders of the United States. In the Iraq War, we were firing off, spending 70 million rounds of ammunition a year. Why on earth is the Department of Homeland Security buying 750 million? Why is NOAA buying 46,000? Why is the Social Security Administration buying 174,000? Why do we see drones everywhere? Why do we see more cameras on every corner? Why do we see the expansion of the Department of Homeland Security's Transportation Safety Administration out of airports, into bus terminals, into train terminals, onto the roads? Why is all this happening? Is it just by happenstance? Is it just by coincidence? We live in a time and an era where we have this expanding security industrial complex. At the exact same time, we have this expanding frustration, this expanding anger. Is it because we're going to get into a sustainable recovery and all this hostility and frustration and tension is going to be diffused by creating jobs when when Mitt Romney comes into office or Barack Obama stays in office? Forget about it. They understand exactly what's coming to this country, and it is not going to be pretty. They are setting the stage. They are preparing for it. And while this occurs, one of these two scenarios play out. We either have Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan get in there, yanking social safety nets out from millions of people in this country. You end up with riots in the street. We have Barack Obama stay in office, and the papering over continues. The out-of-control deficits continue, and we have the world losing confidence as the dollar is a world reserve currency. We have a credit freeze. Bam. You have riots in the street. Either way, we end up at the exact same location. The problem is we're not going to be looking at the people who brought us here. We're going to be looking at each other and blaming each other for the condition we're in. I believe this has been the intention the whole time. I believe this is the agenda, and I believe they're sitting there ready to deal with the rabble-rousers, deal with the belligerent actors. Unfortunately, it's going to be every person in this country who's wiped out through their 401k or through their saving, or wiped out because they've had social safety nets ripped out from under it, and now they're looking at Washington, D.C., and Washington, D.C. saying, it is your fault. All right, let's get Greg Mannarino on the program and get his thoughts on where we're at right now and where we're headed. Greg, welcome back to the program. Always a pleasure to have you.
Excellent, Charlie. Thank you so much. Let me just say this. A financial monster is quickly approaching an economic Armageddon. It's really that severe. And I know people are going to say, oh, it's not going to be that bad. It is going to be that bad. Look at what is going on. Look at everything that you just said. They're not stupid. They are preparing for something big. Why are the police being militarized? Why are there drones in the sky? Why are they buying all this ammunition? You see, it comes down to this. This is no longer the United States of America. This is the United States of corporate America. It is a corporate state being controlled by the government. It's fascism. It's plain and simple, and the people are going to suffer. That is why people like you are here, people like myself. There's a lot of us out here trying to make people understand the charade that is being played. There is an absolute, complete failure of the monetary system. The debt-based economic model it's coming. It's just around the corner, and this plays into everything that you just said.
Yeah.
People
Go ahead.
are going to be wiped out when they realize that everything that they've come to believe is false regarding the monetary system, because it's a fake monetary system based upon a fiat monetary system. It's not backed by anything. And we essentially work for nothing. We are working for pieces of paper with numbers printed on them that have no value. Not only do they have no value, but because of the fractional reserve system, whatever amount of these paper assets people believe that they have in their accounts because they can punch it up on a computer screen, it's not there. And when this gets worse and people start to want to withdraw their cash, they're going to realize it's not there. And bank runs are coming. That is a fact as well, in my opinion. We should be looking over at Europe right now and realize that the situation there is going to be much worse when it comes home here in the United States for a lot of reasons. One is the failure of the United States dollar being the reserve currency. It's being replaced slowly and systematically. China, in my opinion, is going to have the reserve. That's going to kill the dollar. Those individuals and countries and governments that are holding the dollar are going to dump them because it's in a terminal phase. Something I talk about time. I've done videos about.
Absolutely, and let's touch on the terminal phase of the dollar.
Yes.
When we get back on the backside of this break, great start of the program, Greg, and let's keep it going, guys. We're going to be back in just a few minutes after these commercial messages. Hang tight. Hey guys, it's Charlie McGrath with WideAwakeNews.com and Wide Awake News Radio. You know, it was 1999 when the Dow Jones first crossed the 10,000 point mark. Back then, our national debt was $6 trillion. You could buy an ounce of gold for around $250 and an ounce of silver for around $5. Now, there's a lot of folks in alternative media and mainstream media asking the question, when are we going to see the next financial crisis? Well, for myself and the folks over at Austin Rare Coin, we believe that time is now. It's called sovereign debt fiat currency crisis. Now let's review 1999, 10,000 points on the Dow, 2012, after trillions of dollars being spent, 13,000 points. We've seen our national debt explode from $6 trillion to nearly $16 trillion. Gold from $250 an ounce to over $1,600 an ounce, and silver from $5 to over $30 an ounce. Gold and silver, that is planet Earth's currency. It has been for 5,000 years. It will be for the next 5,000 years. If you have wealth you are trying to protect, I highly recommend and encourage you to call Gabe Elton and the folks over at Austin Rare Coin, 1-800-552-4109. They support alternative media. They support getting the truth out, so let's support them. Austin Rare Coin, 1-800-552-4109, or visit them online, austincoins.com.
Remember this name, Carnivora. That's CARNIVORA.com. What if I told you that this 100% pure and natural product was delivered directly to the White House at President Reagan's personal request at a time when only the president was able to obtain it? Reagan used this amazing product, Carnivora, successfully, a product derived only from nature that has the intelligence to instinctively attack abnormal cells only without harming a single normal cell, and the power to actually wake up critical immune cells from dormancy to attack foreign invaders that don't belong in our bodies. Carnivora is now obtainable by anyone who wants to get healthy and stay that way. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY and protect yourself with 17 naturally occurring compounds that will unleash powerful immune defense. That's 1-866-VENUS-FLY. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY and get your Carnivora today. Visit carnivora.com.
Will 2012 bring the Mayan end of world or the global banking collapse? In 2007, one man, Mike Dillard, made 5 predictions which forecasted the 2008 economic crisis and the pending Eurozone collapse. This week, Mike unleashes 3 brand new, shocking, must-watch videos with predictions for the coming year. www.the3videos.com. Over the past year, Mike Dillard has helped thousands of ordinary people create and recover wealth by tapping into the black box investing strategies the big banks don't want you to know about. www.the3videos.com. As the European banking system implodes and governments collapse at breakneck speeds, the next 12 months will be the most anticipated and important months in modern human history. This will make 2008 look like a walk in the park. Everyone will be affected. Go to www.the3videos.com now. Learn how to prepare your family and prosper during the global financial collapse.
All right, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I am your host, Charlie McGrath. Greg Mannarino is joining us here. We were talking about, the warning signs. And look, it's hard to sit back and not get kind of, I don't want to use the word upset, but kind of miffed when you look at, this data that came out today showing some kind of optimism because we've had, an increase in retail sales. So with the Dow goes up 70 points, gold and silver kind of fall through the floor, which as far as I'm concerned, it's a buying opportunity. But, the reality is real simple. We don't have to look at the short term. But I do think if we look at the medium term, we can see exactly how this is going to play out, at least the in destination, where that's going to be. And like I said in the beginning, you pick your scenario. One of these are going to play out. There is no Ron Paul. There is no magic bullet. There is no savior coming that's going to, say, well, the best thing we need to do is audit the Federal Reserve, liquidate some of this debt, declare a lot of it, illegal, null and void, and return to a constitutional currency. That ain't coming. That ain't happening. That is not on the horizon at all. So that leaves you with two scenarios that are going to play out. We're either going to kick the can down the road for, maybe a few more months, a few more years, and then watch the dollar implode and everybody's way of living go crashing through the floor, where you have millions of people who are taken completely by surprise. Or, we go direction B, which is we just implement this now, a real crisis of reality, pull the carpet out from under everything, seize the economy by yanking social safety nets out from under it. Then we realize exactly how much of this has been generated, this so-called fledgling recovery, how much of this has been generated by backdoor bailouts and secret programs and money printing over the last 4 years. And it all sounds well and good. They can keep this, they'll turn on the printing presses and we'll keep a recovery going. But what most people fail to realize is while this occurs, we go further and further and further into debt, making the landing that much harder when it does occur. So, I mean, those are the places we end up. One way or the other, we're going to get there. Greg, you were talking about the demise of the dollar and what that might look like.
Yeah, just going back to what you had just said here, the shame in this entire thing, where we are right now, is this. Had the Federal Reserve not jump in and try to, quote unquote, save the day, stat approach the crash of 2008, all the pain would have been taken already, and we would have been in a real recovery right now.
Amen to that.
Yeah, but because they chose this route, they're actually setting up the biggest slaughter, and I mean in the literal sense, that the world has ever seen as we move forward. We've fueled this debt bubble to the point of ridiculousness, and it will burst. Why will it burst? Because every single economic and financial bubble before it has burst, because they rise above a level that can be sustained by any means. What is that actually telling us? Well, it doesn't matter. Whatever they do, how many bailouts they want to do, how much money they want to print, it cannot put off the inevitable bursting of these bubbles. We are now, the dollar is in a terminal phase, just going back to what you want to talk about right now. And what does that mean? That means the dollar is now a currency on its way to the bottom. It's going to win its race to the bottom. I've discussed this at length in videos. I go over it in my book, The Politics of Money. And when the debt bubble bursts, which is not far off, as a matter of fact, I've done videos recently discussing how the bond market is in a clear bubble. I've demonstrated this with charts. It's probably going to become hyperinflated as we move forward here. And if we follow the current trajectory that we're on, Charlie, we are literally months away, in my opinion, months away from that bubble bursting.
And what does that? I mean, a lot of people hear that a bond bubble bursting. But explain, in 2 minutes before we go to this break, explain what that looks like.
Sure. Well, it's debt. It's debt, just like the dollar or the currencies is debt. That's all it is. And the problem is debt. That's the root cause. And they keep fueling this bubble with more debt. It's not sustainable. When the bubble bursts, it's going to turn currency into confetti. We are going to have inflation, the likes of which people are not going to believe. Interest rates are going to go to the moon, obviously because of a loss in faith in the system. All of this is coming, and if people wait any longer to start to secure their future financially, and as well as, thinking about survival, they're in a lot of trouble, because it's not. How do I put this? It's not that wave that maybe doesn't hit you. It's the one behind it that is going to hit you that people don't see, and that's what's coming. That is what's coming, Charlie, and it's going to be devastating.
So would you say that the 2008, the global credit freeze we saw out of that, and then the air quote rescue that occurred after that was, the first wave in this tsunami, and then we're pretending that everything's it's receding and everything's going back to a stable environment, just so we can be set up for this big hit. I mean, is that a good way to describe what you've seen over the last, in your financial professional opinion, what we've seen over the last several years?
Yes, what they're doing is what they always do, is try to kick the can down the road, but the can cannot be kicked anymore. Because, I mean, to put this in another perspective, to think about the national debt, well, I'm not counting unfunded liabilities here. I'm just talking about the sovereign debt of $16.125 trillion. It's going to double in another 7 years or less.
Or sooner.
Or sooner than that. And we cannot service the interest on that debt, especially when interest rates rise.
That's a good.
And
that's a
we're
fact.
We're right at the end game now.
All right, we're going to take this second break, and we're going to be back with Greg Mannarino and more Wide Awake News Radio in just a few minutes. Hang tight. Hey guys, it's Charlie McGrath with Wide Awake News Radio and WideAwakeNews.com. In 2007, 26 million Americans were on food stamps. 2012, the numbers exploded to over 46 million people relying on the government to put food on the table. Debt's out of control across the planet, pushing us towards a financial Armageddon. Talk of war seems to fill every newscast. And disasters, both man-made and natural, seem to be on the rise. Can you think of a better time in history than now to be prepared for the unexpected? Guys, I want to introduce you to our new partners in alternative media. BuyEmergencyFoods.com. BuyEmergencyFoods.com offers the best kind of emergency food, Legacy Premium, with the largest variety available in the freeze-dried food industry. Each meal is packed for freshness in an individual nitrogen-flushed Mylar pouch. The meal is then sealed in a stackable heavy-duty plastic container that's easy to store, easy to transport, and won't be damaged by water or rodents. So if you're worried about food inflation, economic crisis, unemployment, natural disaster, then don't delay. Prepare your family now. Visit our new partners in alternative media, BuyEmergencyFoods.com. Give them a call at 888-543-7345, or again, visit them at BuyEmergencyFoods.com.
You're listening to Charlie nationwide and worldwide on the internet on the Rents Radio Network. Known worldwide as the most consistently fascinating, informative, and unique program on radio, the Jeff Rense program can be yours to listen to anytime, anywhere, whenever you want to hear it. For pennies a day, our subscribers can download any of Jeff's thousands of programs featuring a treasury of newsmakers, researchers, eyewitnesses, and incredible subjects, all in MP3 commercial-free, crystal-clear 56-bit digital sound, and take these often unforgettable programs with them wherever they go. As a subscriber, you can also listen live at airtime, online, anywhere in the world, or browse through our archives of over 10,000 hours of legendary broadcasts. Subscribe now by taking the link at the top of Rents.com and enrich your mind with the most unique panorama of vital information and the best independent, honest journalism in radio. Look for the Subscribe Now link on Rents.com and give yourself the knowledge you need for these unprecedented times.
Heart-related health problems affect millions of people each year. Maybe you're one of the many who suffer from issues related to angina pain, high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, unbalanced cholesterol, irregular heartbeat, or clogged arteries. There is a solution that doesn't involve expensive prescription drugs that only mask the problem and leave you with horrible side effects. If you are ready to live your life free of sickness, pain, and fear, live your life with increased vitality, energy, and youthfulness, and experience your body healing itself, then you're ready for Heart and Body Extract from Healthy Hearts Club. Heart and Body Extract has a 23-year proven track record of using certified organic herbs that make up an excellent formula to balance and support the heart and circulatory system. In as little as 2 weeks, you can feel amazing results when your 2-month supply of Heart and Body Extract today. Call 1-866-295-5305 or go to hbextract.com.
Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm Charlie McGrath, your host. Greg Mannarino and I were talking during the break, and you know what? I mean, it was a very one line he said to me. You know, millions, if hundreds of millions of people are going to die, and I want him to elaborate on that because he's put a lot of time and thought and work into researching how he can make such a statement. But before I do that, I want everybody, if you're not subscribed to him on YouTube, Greg Mannarino on YouTube is Mannarino. Please subscribe to him because he puts out videos. What it looks like every day you're putting out one or two videos, maybe a couple a day, huh?
One a day, sometimes two. I did two today because I kind of flipped out as what was coming out of the mainstream media outlets, and they were talking about how the banking. What was the title of Market Watch? It was Street Buoyed by Banks, and they were specifically talking about Citigroup and Bank of America. And I actually showed some charts in there to show you what a farce this is, and it's just hype. And I don't want people to buy into it.
Yeah, I agree. And before you continue your thought, let me say go to his YouTube channel, and there you will find all the ways that you can get your fill, your dose of Greg Mannarino every day. You can follow him on Facebook. You can go to his where he's selling his books. Excuse me, I had a cough there. You can go to his. There's a link there to his website, which is Greg Mannarino or Mannarino, .com. But go ahead and continue your thought. Let's start with Citi, and we'll get to this hundreds of millions are potentially at risk in the short term. But talk about this Citi deal a little bit, because it was all this hot news this morning.
Well, do you know what these? Look at what these particular companies were trading at just prior to the bubble bursting. They were up hundreds of % more than they are now at where they're trading at now, and they're trying to hype it. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, me too. Especially when you watch this kind of news come out. The dollar rising, the market rising, and gold and silver dropping. None of that makes sense. It's all counterintuitive.
There's no volume. There's no volume here in the markets. It's just disappearing. In fact, again, in that video I just did, it came out maybe about 35 minutes ago. I go over all of this stuff on that, and I show charts, and I make a lot of fun of it all. But it's just so insane. The hype, the absolute nonsense that they're trying to force down people's throats in an attempt to keep this illusion of some type of recovery. There is none. There's none. Zero. We have no money velocity. You cannot have any type of recovery without that. Money is not changing hands. And then I think the last time we spoke, we might have touched on this. When we do start to see money velocity, that's not going to mean that all of a sudden our economy is getting better. It means that people are dumping dollars, which is coming. And once fear pervades the market and people start to lose faith in the monetary system, that's when these bubbles are going to burst, and that's when people are going to suffer. And if you want me to just touch on why I have no doubt, I'm 100% certain that this will occur. As we were speaking about, I'm a chart guy. I know how to read charts. I've been doing this for over 2 decades. And if you just look at the chart of the debt bubble, we went off a gold standard in 1971. We saw the debt grow exponentially. We also saw the population on a worldwide scale boom exponentially, because we pulled the monies out of the future to live a better now. And that created an artificial environment across the board, and people were able to multiply in many, many respects. And when the debt bubble bursts, it's going to make resources unavailable. It's just basic logic. And when those resources are not available, people are going to die, Charlie. They're going to die by the millions, if not tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions on a worldwide scale. It's going to correct along with the debt bubble. The population bubble and the debt bubble are going to collapse simultaneously.
Do you see, I mean, you're painting a picture even more bleak than I usually allude to. But you certainly could see. I mean, you could see a constriction of energy resources, and let's be real frank. I mean, you're right. Energy, oil out of the ground is look around you, especially if you are in an area was highly urban, built up area, and look at the vast numbers of people. Look at the population explosion. That's all brought to you on behalf or because of energy and technology, and they're hand in hand. if you don't have one, I mean, you truly the equilibrium finds its level, just like water, it's always going to find its level. Without this kind of massive energy resource consumption, we don't have this population growth. We can't, we don't sustain this population.
No, we can't. That's exactly true. And that plays right back into when the bubble bursts. It will burst. And when it does, those resources will not be available to people. It's a horrible thought. I mean, but I really want people to understand this. And I outline this at length in my book, The Politics of Money. And, I've been getting rave reviews on it. And I think
we're going to get it.
Yeah. Lulu.com right now. LULU.com. It will be available everywhere within a few months, but people can get an advanced copy now if they want to go to that site. You can go to my website, GregoryMannarino.com, or just go online, put my name in. It's very easy to find me, and I urge people to friend me on Facebook. I like having friends who can share all this. I also have a social website, BYOCB. Become Your Own Central Bank, Gregory Mannarino. That's pretty much designed for people to get their heads together and start to think about things and come up with solutions. Because there's a global reset coming, Charlie. It's that simple. And you know it. I know it. And the problem is that most people don't know it. And the reset button is going to be the collapse of the monetary system, which we're seeing at this particular time. It's unfolding in Europe. It's going to sweep the globe, and a new system is already in the works.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely, they've been talking. We've been hearing the talk surface more and more into the mainstream over the last several years. Global financial currency, global financial governance, and it will all come in the heels of a crisis. And this, and it won't be. When we look back at 2008, Greg, you think about this. We're going to look back at 2008. Where we had 2, 3, 4 weeks of real tense times on Wall Street. You had the mainstream media, Kramer freaking out, but really it's going to look just like a little blip. It's not going to look like much compared to a real crisis that I believe will be planned and used to consolidate power and implement global financial governance.
Well, they're definitely going to do something here because we go from bubble to bubble. It's incredible how it has played out. We came out of the .com bubble. From there, we went right into the real estate equity bubble. That burst. They reinflated the equities bubble. They're trying to reinflate a housing bubble right now with the government, the Federal Reserve now buying $40 billion a month with money printed out of thin air. Now, what people need to keep in mind, Charlie, is this. That's QE3. QE4 is right around the corner. And what I mean by that is we understand that Operation Twist, I like to call it Operation Twist Squared, which is the extension of Operation Twist, that's going to end at the end of the year. Now, what do we think is going to happen? What do we know is going to happen? Well, Ben has come out and stated that he's going to keep interest rates low until at least 2015. What people don't realize is Ben just can't say that. He has to make it happen. And how does he do that? He has to get into the market and buy bonds. So he's going to be instituting QE4, an outright in-our-faces bond buying program at the beginning of next year, more money printed out of thin air.
You think this happens right on the backside of the fiscal cliff debate? You know what? Don't answer that. We're going to take our last break. We're going to be back with Greg Mannarino and more Wide Awake News Radio.
You got it.
I know. I have to keep saying Dan Marino in my head. Greg Mannarino and more Wide Awake News Radio. Just a few minutes, guys. Hang tight. WideAwakeNews.com and Wide Awake News Radio. 2%. This is the number that the federal government wants you to believe represents inflation in our country. 2%. Now, maybe that's true if we back out necessity items we need just to live, such as energy and food. But the fact of the matter is, I don't have to tell you food prices are on the increase. They have been for years, and it's going to continue to rise. The real question is, are we getting better quality food for this increase in price? According to the CDC, the answer is no. A March 2012 report shows foodborne illnesses are on the rise. Guys, we are so lucky to have the folks at seedsnow.com as sponsors of Wide Awake News Radio. Not only are Chris and the folks at SeedsNow.com offering thousands of non-GMO, non-hybrid, non-Frankenfood seeds that can go out the door today, they're looking to the future as well and offering outstanding values on things such as the Mini Mega Seed Bank with over 48,000 seeds and the Mega Super Survival Seed Kit with over 58,000 seeds. SeedsNow.com is a sponsor of Wide Awake News Radio because they care about alternative media and they care about getting the truth out. So let's support those that support alternative media. And if you go there today and put in the promo code WideAwake10, you will receive an instant 10% discount on all your orders. So please visit SeedsNow.com and use the promo code WideAwake10 to receive your discount.
If you're taking 1, 2, 5, or more nutritional supplements, please stop. Simplify your supplementation with Bio Superfood, the most advanced nutritional whole food supplement you can buy. Men, women, children, even Olympic athletes the world over have discovered Bio Superfood from BioAge.com. And now take just one nutritional supplement instead of many. The Bio Superfood formulas are whole food products composed with 4 of the most nutrient-dense algae found on Earth. Bio Superfood for the brain helps with focus, memory, clarity, and mood. If you can increase brain health, the rest of the body is a no-brainer. Bio Superfood has 0 toxicity and is safe for you and your family. Learn more and order your Bio Superfood formulas at BioAge.com, spelled BIOAGE.com, BioAge.com, or call 877-288-9116. That's 877-288-9116. BioAge, the age of advanced organics.
Are chemtrail geoengineering programs changing our weather and destroying our environment? Why in the world are they spraying?
They want to create a storm in the southeast, then they'll start engineering out over the North Pacific. That's where the trailees will be.
Find out why critics are calling Why in the World Are They Spray the most important film that is revolutionizing the environmental movement.
It's just going to get worse until the point where we're not going to be able to grow anything at all unless it's a Monsanto genetically modified, abiotic stress resistant seed.
Why in the World Are They Spraying? New international version with languages available from around the world. For 1 month, Rinse listeners receive free shipping. Go to the banner on the front of the Rinse website and click on the link for more info.
It's all about money, and weather is another form of commoditizing, a way the Central Command Group can commoditize another form of our life.
Why in the world are they spraying?
And if you control the weather, you're going to control the planet. It's that simple.
Make a promise, take a vow, and trust your feelings, it's easy now. Understand the voice within and feel a change already beginning.
Final segment on Wide Awake News Radio for this 15th day of October, Monday. Greg Mannarino and I speaking off air during the break. Basically about, we both believed that we were going to end up in the same spot, and we were kind of trying to play around with different scenarios. 3 to 5 years, potentially, this could go on before we enter the ultimate collapse. But Greg, you think it could happen at the outside 3 to 5 years, but much, much sooner as well, correct?
Oh, absolutely. It could. Once people begin to understand that the monetary system is failing, it has failed, and they start to lose faith in the system, that's it. It's party over. What people need to understand is the people that are fueling this, they don't want this to go on forever, because when this bubble bursts, more wealth will be created by those betting against it than was made for those betting for it. Now, they're going to collect it on both sides of the trade. And this is what the Federal Reserve has been setting up, and something I go over all the time. How the Federal Reserve has been front-running the markets for a very long time, allowing institutional investors to borrow cash for nothing. They're speculating with it in the markets, leveraging that debt multiple-fold through derivatives. And what are they going to do? Well, once that bubble bursts, they're going to start betting against it all, and they're going to collect even more wealth on the opposite side of that. And they did the same thing in 2008. They understood how this was going to play out.
But isn't the key difference in 2008? Yes, they were exceedingly low interest rates, and they were speculating with a bunch of money that was almost nothing for them to borrow. But it was a failure that was private at that point in time. And this go around, it's completely different. I mean, in 2008, we heard, we can't let these guys fail because it'll stop the economy. But now this debt, this sovereign debt bubble, that falls and lands squarely on the back of the people of the world.
Oh, absolutely. And this is what they're trying to do. I believe, and again, this is something I outlined in my book, Politics of Money, we are going backward in time. We're going back into a two-tier society. There's not going to be an upper class, a middle class, and a low class. There's just going to be a two-tier society. And there's going to be the haves, there's going to be the have-nots. And what do we know happened? At the crash of 2008, the aggregate public here in the United States alone lost 38% of their net worth. This next bursting of the bubble is going to take the rest of it. And it's being set up right before our eyes. And I do think people are starting to wake up.
Yeah, I know that's a fact. In fact, I wanted to share a story real quick with you. Because you had said that during the break that you're shifting your lifestyle, you're shifting what you to encompass your full-time work to what you believe is important, and letting some of the things that are less important go by the wayside. And one thing you really believe in is waking people up to what's happening, and try to show them that that things are not what they seem, and they're certainly not what we're being told. And I'm with you. I mean, I do this every night, not because I like to hear myself talk. It's because I really, really believe these things are going to come to pass, and a lot of people are going to be hit right between the eyes with this. And in fact, a close coworker that came to me a month or so back, and he's sitting on a private pension that he had offered. He had an offer to buy it out, and the company that as soon as he told me who the pension was with, I was like wanting to scream at him, cash it out now, get out of it what you can, because first of all, they're on shaky ground. Second of all, when we go through this next collapse, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they promise you 100% on the dollar. It's not going to be there. It's going to be gone. But you can't terrorize people like that with the truth, or they're going to run for the hills and not leave a word you say. But I really encourage him to check deeply into it, even though he took a bit of a hit for a cash out option. At least it's something he could turn immediately. And the conversation drifted towards precious metals, something that he could take and buy something tangible and have it. So regardless of what happens, he has this asset that can't be stolen through technology, through black box trading, and through this oh my gosh unforeseen financial crisis that we're heading into. And lo and behold, he finally talked to enough people that convinced him that his best move is to take this, we'll call it $100,000, and take a 20% hit, but at least have a big fat wad of cash that he can turn into something tangible.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the main thing. People need to start. I've been urging people to do this. Actually, beginning the end of last month, I was urging people, my subscribers, to start thinking about closing their long positions, because we were going to see losses in the market. And, well, look what happened. We did. We had losses in the market. People that took that advice did very well. This little bounce we had today is nothing. This was just bottom fishers who were going to get crushed. Had nothing to do with the performance of Citigroup or Bank of America, and this market has got nowhere to go, in my opinion, except step down at this particular point. I don't care what they try to do; they cannot put this off forever. The free market is going to have its day of reckoning, and that day is not far off.
Well, and it's really obvious now in hindsight, because a lot of speculation going into 2012 was, would we collapse financially early on in the year, late in the year? Would they hold it through, try to maintain normalcy through the election? And it certainly seems to be. I mean, they're almost there. What are we, 4 weeks away?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and so I mean, looking at the very, very short term, the next 3 to 6 months, I mean, we got to wait till November 7th before all hell can unleash. At least this attempt to keep us under the impression, with a faulty first-time job report last week, first-time unemployment claims rather last week, a ridiculous jobs report that came out the 1st of October, the first Friday of October, We can keep this charade going on for a few more weeks, but I think, you talked about technical data, and you talked about the research that you do shows that we are heading for big trouble sooner, probably, rather than later.
I believe that, and that's why I think it's so urgent. We will understand they need to start taking action now.
And by that, you're talking about if you have dollars, either real dollars sitting in the bank or investments, do what you can do to position yourself in a way that's going to give you the best chance of maintaining some of the wealth that you have.
Exactly, and it's very simple to do. Just at this time, I think it would be very prudent of people to start thinking about limiting their exposure to risky assets. The riskiest asset of them all is the fiat currency on a global level. Get out of it. I've been saying this for the longest time, and I hope people are understanding that you need to start thinking along the lines of a hedge against the death of currency. And how you do that is by holding precious metals, physical metal in your hand, and that will preserve your wealth and grow it for the next monetary system. It's that simple.
What do you think the next monetary system looks like? Do we have a revolt and return to constitutional currency issued by government, as the Constitution prescribes? Or are we going to see Lagarde come up with a SDR that's going to be backed by whatever?
There has to be a move back to a commodity-backed currency. It should be gold, because gold is the most stable asset the world has ever known. And do I think I don't believe there's going to be, for a lot of reasons, but I don't think we're going to have a currency fully backed by gold. I believe it's going to be weighted to a certain degree. It's the only way. It has to happen, because these fiat monetary system based upon the infinite acquisition of debt, they don't work. They never work. You can go back through history and look at it, but never have we been in a situation like we're in now, where the world's reserve is dying.
Right.
This is they've killed it. They've killed it now. Now they're killing it with purpose, and that purpose is to foster this wealth transfer, and that is why the middle classes are going to exist in years to come. And this is why they're trying so hard to keep people's perception in check, trying to sway the way they think so they can understand people's actions and they can capitalize on that. It's a mind game in many ways. It really, really is.
Well, and here's the biggest fear. We end up being led into this massive crisis. And at the backside of it, we have this currency that's, whatever, an SDR, a dollar, whatever you want to call it, a ruble. It really doesn't matter. Whatever the new global reserve currency is for the new global financial system, if it's the same criminals that are determining the value of it, well, then we're equally as screwed. Maybe we'll have a reset for another a generation or two. But at the end of the day, if we still have bankers, private institutions that are masquerading as federal entities, controlling the value of it, we're equally as screwed. So, my hope is we have a collapse, because it's happening regardless. We have a collapse of this system and hold accountable the people who brought us here.
That's my hope too. But I think this transition period, it's leading to war. It's really pointing to war. The petrodollar is being threatened.
Well, we never even touched on that, did we?
No, but that's what this whole thing is. There's going to be war because of this. The petrodollar is being threatened as we speak. China wants the world's reserve currency. They're going to get it, in my opinion. But before that happens, there's going to be war. An escalation of violence in the streets outside our homes. There's going to be, without it, there's going to be civil unrest to the point of civil war. And that is going to escalate. People are getting fed up, and when people don't or are unable to, again, going back to what I said before, acquire basic resources to live, well, that's what this is.
No doubt about it. You paint a troubling picture, but unfortunately, Greg, I believe your forecast is absolutely right on the money. Greg Mannarino. Guys, subscribe to him on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, type Greg Mannarino, Mannarino. And you can also follow him on Facebook there. Go to his website, get a copy of his book, pre-order that book. Greg, thank you very much. We'll get you back on again next month. Thanks for all your hard work and all your videos that you put out.
Excellent, Shaw. You too. Thank you.
All right, you have a good night. Guys, stay tuned for Jeff Rentz because he is coming up next tomorrow night. We have myself and Eric Lovely, hour number 1, followed by myself and attorney Matt Widener, advocate for people who've been fraudulently foreclosed on and basic destruction of the Constitution. He will be our guest for the second hour. Please, again, Joy Jeffy's coming up next. Have a great night. Peace.